back, everyone, to the Late Night Review, the show where I talk about movies I really, really like, movies that I either have nostalgia for, movies I grew up with, or just movies I plain enjoy. There's a lot of YouTubers who make review videos about movies that they don't want to watch, that they don't like, and they do it for you. So those guys deserve all the credit in the world. They're working hard. I'm kind of taking an easier road here, talking about movies that I really, really enjoy. It makes the video editing, the process, the talking, everything better when you enjoy the movie that you're talking about. So I want to keep it enjoyable. There's certain movies I can't really stand, don't want to talk about. But actually, certain movies that I don't like, I will talk about sometimes. Like if there's a franchise I enjoy and there's certain movies in the franchise that I don't care for, I'll critique them and tell you what I think about them. But on this show, I really like to talk about movies that I've seen as a kid. But sometimes I'll talk about movies that I've seen as an adult. And maybe in the future, I'll talk about movies that I've seen recently. But the whole idea is to explain why I like certain movies that I grew up with, movies that I've seen that I enjoy, primarily when I was a kid, most of the time, but as an adult too. But primarily it's focused on movies that I have nostalgia for and movies that I grew up with and really, really enjoy. And tonight is no exception. It's Goodfellas, directed by Martin Scorsese, one of the absolute greatest directors of all time. I've always loved his style, his atmosphere that he brings to it. There's a Scorsese atmosphere. The music that he chooses for his movies really match the scenes. Very harmonious to what you're seeing on the screen. He's always been a master at choosing the right music for the right scene and putting you right there with the characters and kind of experiencing what they're experiencing in those scenes. You're feeling what the characters are supposed to be either feeling or explaining, and he's a master at that. And there's all in Goodfellas, yes, it's inspired by true events. They change some stuff, but it's inspired by true events, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Ever since I was a kid, I'm half Italian, and I grew up, hearing different things and watching different movies and really enjoying the mafia genre. I grew up watching reruns and videos of The Godfather. I would see reruns. I was shown it at an early age. And then later when Goodfellas came out, I watched that. And then later Casino. In fact, I think my favorite, I'm not doing a ranking video right now, maybe in the future, but I'm not doing a ranking video tonight. But I think my favorite mafia movies of all time, I know what the top three are. And not in this order, but it's The Godfather, Goodfellas, and Casino. I go back and forth on those three. Those are my very favorites. Not that, I mean, there's others too, but those are my favorites. And I go back and forth. And Godfather 2 is great. There's a lot of great ones. Carlito's Way, Donnie Brasco, many of the Valachi Papers with Charles Bronson. And you know how much I like Charles Bronson. I like him a lot. But in terms of mafia movies, I think it depends on my mood. I go back and forth between Goodfellas, Casino, and The Godfather. If I'm in a relaxed mood and I just want to just kick back and relax, see what's going on, I'll watch The Godfather. If I want something a little more wild, I'll watch Casino. If I want something maybe in the middle, I'll watch Goodfellas. But I go back and forth. I think if I had to choose, no choice, except one choice, no question, I think I would choose Goodfellas as being my number one mafia movie of all time. Doesn't mean it's any better than The Godfather. It doesn't. I love them all. So it depends on what mood I'm in. I'll go from one to the other. Just depends on what mood I'm in and maybe what day of the week. Who knows? But this is an awesome movie. Really like Goodfellas. I think the master directed it. Scorsese. And I call him that because his style, he really knows how to utilize everything. Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, Casino. So many movies I've watched of his that I like. And there's a movie that it doesn't get much credit, but it's totally different from Goodfellas, and that's After Hours with Griffin Dunn. And I like that movie. Yes, I have nostalgia for it, but it's not just nostalgia. I like the style. I think when it first came out, people kind of didn't get what Scorsese was going for, but I think I got it. It was funny. I like the buildings. I like the lighting. I like this. I thought the story was amusing. To see him get into the Griffin Dunn's character get into these situations, and he had to get out of them. To see him stuck and being frustrated was entertaining. So I think I got what he was going for. It was to see it. You kind of have to be tuned in to be consider to consider that to be a great movie. I really like that movie, After Hours. But tonight I'm talking about Goodfellas. And Goodfellas is, I mean, it goes without saying that it's well directed. Super acting in here. Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Ray Liotta. Everybody in here does a good job. There's not a bad performance in this movie. This movie is, like I said, it's my favorite mafia movie of all time, along with Goodfellas and Casino. The music in here I love. I really like the music that is chosen in here. It matches so well. And the Rolling Stones have always been my favorite rock and roll band. The music, I enjoy their music more than any rock and roll band. They've always been my favorites. My favorite. I had this cassette. I think it was from Kmart when I was a kid. I bought it. Rolling Stones from 65 to 75. I forgot what it was, but it was a black cassette. It had Mick Jagger's, maybe if you have nostalgia for this or if you bought it yourself. It was black cassette. You had the outline, the image of Mick Jagger and the band. You had just the outline where you could see light around the hair. And then you have the red caption, the Rolling Stones. I think it was like 65 to 75 or 64 or 5 to 73. I forgot what year it was. I should dig it up. It's around here somewhere, I think. But it was the Stones, and Martin Scorsese uses the Stones in some of his movies, and I really like that. And it gets me into the movie, and it gets me into the characters. Mafia movies is something I've always enjoyed. The same with hitman movies like The Mechanic with Charles Bronson. There's a movie. I'm talking about other movies. Another movie I like. It's certain parts of it are not terribly realistic, but it's a drama. It's really good. It's Panic with William Macy and Nev Campbell, Donald Sutherland. They're great actors. That was a good movie. Maybe in the future I'll talk about that. But tonight it's Goodfellas, and this movie is really refined. Not only is it well done, well acted, it's exciting. The story plot, you have a lot of terrible behavior in here. You have murder, you have stealing, horrible behavior, but you're drawn into the film, and there's really no good guy in here. There's no, like what I like when there's a good guy like Bronson and Eastwood blowing guys away, or something like that. But I like mafia movies because it's wild. You see them behaving like this, and they're getting away from it. They're operating outside the law. And I always think about what Charles Bronson said in The Mechanic. It's about standing outside of it all on your own. You got this freedom. You're outside. You're operating outside the law. You're getting away with it. I think that draws a lot of people in. The money, the power to hit people that you really want to hit. That kind of stuff. There's a lot of horrible behavior in this movie, but that's the mob. And to me, it's very fascinating. It's very interesting. This movie, the character of Joe Pesci, just he does horrible things in here. He tells funny jokes, and like Ray Liotta said, he's really really funny. What do you mean I'm funny? That whole scene was classic, and it's iconic. It's used as a meme. It's just, what do you think what do you mean I'm funny? What do you mean? You mean the way I talk? And then everyone gets quiet, thinks something, might happen, especially Ray Liotta. Joe Pesci, that's when I've seen Joe Pesci before that in uh, Raging Bull. I saw him before that. And I also saw him in JFK, even though JFK, I believe, came out after Goodfellas. I was young, so I didn't, chronologically, I didn't really focus on the years when I was young, but I've seen him in other stuff before I actually saw him in Goodfellas. But gosh, what an actor. He could play so many different types of roles. Great in this kind of role. And then Robert De Niro, great actor, plays everything from Jake LaMotta to Frankenstein and to Goodfellas, Taxi Driver. I kind of liked his name in Taxi Driver. I kind of liked his first name, Travis, for some reason. I liked it. But yeah, this movie is one of my favorites. Ray Liotta, great actor. He has passed. That was awful to hear that news. Not too long ago, he passed. He was really great in here. Played Henry Hill. I've seen Henry Hill in many documentaries because I like watching mafia documentaries. Seen him interviewed on Geraldo. I saw him interviewed on multiple shows. And Ray Liotta really brings that character to life. They've changed some things in the movie. Tommy, Joe Pesci's character, Tommy, I think his real name in real life was Tommy Simone. And I think they might have changed his last name in Goodfellas. I've seen the movie multiple times, but I'm not writing down every last name of everybody in it. But it's just a fantastic movie. Seen it a gazillion times. Um, Memorable scenes. The bar scene where they're beating Billy Bats almost to death. That was iconic. Horrible, it was pretty brutal. But he insulted him. He insulted him. He got a little out of order himself. So what do you expect him to do? I mean, come on. If you don't want trouble, don't start it. No, just kidding. No, that was brutal. They break the law all the times. They do a lot of horrible stuff in here. They bring the characters to life. Very well done. Great acting. Perfectly directed. I can't recommend Goodfellas enough. If you like mafia movies, this is your movie. Really, this is your movie. This has been the Late Night Review. Like and subscribe, and please share this video. And until next time, have a good night, everyone.